Why do predators always mistake silence for weakness? Why do they assume that because you walk alone, you are defenseless? They do not realize that the most dangerous animal in the forest is not the one howling in the pack. It is the one watching from the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. You sit in the corner of the room. You occupy the coordinates of 0. You observe. You do not speak unless spoken to. And even then, your words are measured, calculated, precise to the millimeter. People look at you and they see a void. They see absence. They see a lack of connection. They mistake your silence for submission. This is their fatal error. This is the miscalculation that will ruin them. They do not understand the physics of an iceberg. They only see the 10% above the water, the polite smile, the quiet nod. They do not see the jagged mountain of ice beneath the surface, the mass that sinks tightens. Why is it that the quietest person in the room is often the one holding the most power? Why does the air density change? When you finally decide to stand up, you have felt this shift. You have felt the moment when your patience snaps. It is not a scream. It is a cold drop in temperature, a sudden stillness in your nervous system. The static noise of anxiety vanishes and is replaced by the high-definition clarity of a weapons system locking onto a target. Most people rely on the herd for protection. They rely on social contracts. They rely on the noise of the crowd to drown out their own insecurities. But you have walked through the valley of the shadow of death alone. You have made friends with the silence. You have forged your identity in the dark. You do not need their validation to breathe. So when someone betrays you, when someone breaks the sacred code of loyalty, they do not just lose a friend. They awaken a super agent. They trigger a dormant protocol within your biology. A protocol designed for one thing: total asymmetrical warfare. They think they have betrayed a sheep that has strayed from the flock, but they have stepped into the cave of a bear that was hibernating. And now, the bear is awake, and it is hungry for justice. Welcome to the Watchtower. Let us strip away the poetry. Let us look at the biological hardware of the lone wolf. Society calls you introverted. They call you antisocial. They diagnose you with social anxiety. They label you with avoidant personality disorder. These are labels given by a sick society to those who refuse to participate in the sickness. Let us reframe this through the lens of evolutionary biology. You are not broken. You are a specialist. In the ancient tribes of our ancestors, there were those who stayed by the fire. They groomed each other. They chattered. They reinforced social bonds through constant low-level communication. This released oxytocin. It kept the herd calm. It lowered their cortisol. But if everyone is looking at the fire, who is looking at the darkness, who is watching the perimeter, that was you. You are the sentinel. You are the watcher on the wall. Your biological hardware is wired differently. Let us examine the reticular activating system, or RAS. This is the filter in your brain stem. It decides what data gets through to your conscious mind. For the herd, the RAS filters out the snapping twig. It filters out the shift in the wind. They focus on the social hierarchy. They focus on status. They focus on fitting in. But your RAS is wide open. You process everything. You notice the micro-expression on a liar's face. You notice the slight change in tone when someone is manipulating you. You hear the predator before it strikes. This high bandwidth processing comes at a cost. It drains your battery. Social interaction is expensive for you, not because you are weak, but because you are running a supercomputer while everyone else is using a calculator. You require solitude to recharge. You require silence to cool down the processor. This is not a defect. This is an elite adaptation. Neuroscience tells us that the lone wolf often has high activity in the prefrontal cortex. This is the CEO of the brain. It governs planning, logic, and impulse control, while the herd reacts emotionally to every stimulus. You analyze, you wait, you gather data, you build a dossier on everyone you meet. You do not do this out of malice. You do this for survival. You know that humans are dangerous variables. You know that betrayal is a statistical probability. So you watch. Your dopamine receptors are also different. You do not get the cheap hit of dopamine from small talk or gossip. You require depth. You require substance. Or you require nothing at all. You are comfortable in the void. Most people panic when they are alone because their default mode network activates. This is the brain network that runs when we are doing nothing. For most, this network screams with insecurity. It replays their failures. It highlights their loneliness. But for you, it is a sanctuary. You have mastered your own mind. You have colonized your own thoughts. This makes you sovereign. And sovereignty is dangerous to those who wish to control you. Now enters the antagonist, the narcissist, the Machiavellian, the energy vampire, the person who views relationships as transactions. They see you alone, and their predatory instincts flare up. They mistake your solitude for vulnerability. They think you are alone because you are unwanted. They do not understand that you are alone because you are selective. They approach you. They use a technique called love bombing. They flood your system with attention. They mirror your depth. They try to hack your hardware by simulating the one thing you crave: true connection. Because you are a lone wolf, you do not let people in easily. You have a fortress around your soul. Thick walls of obsidian, high towers of vigilance. But when you do lower the drawbridge, you do it completely. You do not have casual friends. You have allies. You have blood brothers. You have a tribe of one or two. Your loyalty is absolute. It is binary. 0 or 1. There is no grey area. So when the predator infiltrates your fortress, when they earn your trust, and then, when they betray you, they commit a crime far greater than they understand. They have not just hurt your feelings. They have violated the core architecture of your reality. The betrayal usually happens when you cease to be useful to them, or when you see behind their mask. They discard you. They lie about you. They try to turn the herd against you. This is where they make the fatal miscalculation. They expect you to beg. They expect you to scramble for social validation. They expect you to try and win back the favor of the group, because that is what they would do. That is what the sheep does when it is sheared. It bleats. It looks for the shepherd. But you are not a sheep. You do not need the herd to survive. You have lived in the cold before. You were born in the cold. The predator relies on the sunk cost fallacy. This is the psychological bias that keeps people in toxic situations, because they have invested time and energy. They think you will stay and fight for the scrap of relationship they left behind. But your logic center overrides your emotional center. You calculate the ROI, the return on investment, and you see that the investment is toxic. So you liquidate the asset instantly. The predator does not understand that for the lone wolf, betrayal acts as a chemical catalyst. It transmutes your empathy into apathy. It flips a switch in the anterior cingulate cortex. This is the part of the brain that processes both physical pain and social rejection. For the herd, this pain is paralyzing. It triggers a fawn response, a desperate need to please the attacker to stop the pain. But for you, it triggers the fight response, but not the chaotic fighting of a brawler. It triggers the cold, surgical, strategic fighting of an assassin. Nietzsche once said, "I am a forest and a night of dark trees, but he who is not afraid of my darkness will find banks full of roses under my cypresses." The betrayer burned the roses. Now all that is left is the dark forest, and they are lost in it, without a map, and you are the only one who knows the way out. But you are not speaking anymore. You must understand the nature of your power. You think you are hurt. You think you are grieving. Then perhaps you are. But look closer at the sensation in your chest. That is not just grief. That is clarity. The betrayal has burned away the fog of potential. You no longer have to wonder if they are a friend or foe. The data is in. The simulation is complete. They are an enemy. And the lone wolf knows exactly what to do with an enemy. The most dangerous thing about you is that you do not need an audience for your revenge. Most people seek revenge to restore their social status. They want to prove to the crowd that they are not a victim. Their revenge is loud, performative, messy. It usually backfires because it makes them look unstable. But your revenge is silence. Your revenge is success. Your revenge is total erasure. You possess a capability that the herd lacks. Object permanence of the self. You know who you are without them telling you. Therefore, when they leave, you do not cease to exist. In fact, you become more real. You become more solid. The predator relies on your reaction to fuel their narcissistic supply. They need you to be angry. They need you to be sad. They need to know they impacted you. They are feeding on your emotional exhaust. But you are about to cut the fuel line. You are about to starve them. You are going to become a ghost in their machine. They will reach out to touch you, and their hand will pass through smoke. You are not being nice. You are being strategic. You are realizing that the greatest weapon you have is your absence. Your presence was a gift, a privilege, one they did not pay for, one they abused. So now you revoke the license. This is the moment you pivot from victim to architect. You stop asking why they did it. The why is irrelevant. It is biology. Scorpions sting. Snakes bite. Parasites feed. Do not be angry at the parasite for being a parasite. Be angry at yourself for forgetting to wear armor. But now the armor is back on, and it is thicker than before. It is time to execute the protocols. We need a system to manage this breach. We cannot rely on instincts alone. Your instincts might tell you to lash out or to withdraw into depression. We will do neither. We will execute for specific protocols designed to neutralize the threat and restore your sovereignty. The first protocol is the zero contact horizon. This is not just no contact. This is the death of the timeline where they exist. You must understand the neuroscience of memory. Every time you look at their photo, every time you read their old texts, every time you check their social media, you are strengthening the neural pathway associated with them. You are physically keeping them alive in your brain. You are feeding the ghost. The zero contact horizon means you scrub the data. You block the number. You block the accounts. You delete the photos. You remove the physical objects from your space. If they gave you a shirt, burn it or donate it, but get it out of your territory. Your environment is your external hard doctor. If their data is on your drive, it is corrupting your operating system. You do not say a final goodbye. You do not write a closure letter. Closure is a myth, invented by people who want one last hit of dopamine. The closure is the silence. The period at the end of the sentence is the door slamming shut. When you disappear completely, it triggers a prediction error in their brain. They expect a reaction. When they get nothing, it causes them psychological distress. It creates a vacuum. They will try to fill it. They will try to hover. They will send bait. You will remain behind the event horizon, invisible, untouchable. You are the black hole that swallowed their ego. The second protocol is the Obsidian War. This applies if you are forced to interact with them, perhaps in a workplace or a family gathering. You do not ignore them. Ignoring them shows effort. It shows that you are trying to avoid them. Instead, you become a mirror, but a cold one. You reflect their behavior back to them, but stripped of all emotion. If they say hello, you say hello. Period. No question back. No how are you? No smile. No frown. Just a flat data transfer. You become an on-player character in their video game. You offer no side quests. You offer no dialogue options. You are boring. We call this the grey rock method in psychology, but we will call it the Obsidian wall. You are smooth, dark, and impenetrable. They cannot hook into you, because there are no cracks in the surface. You give them nothing to feed on. Their narcissism will starve. They crave reaction like a vampire craves blood. Do not give them a drop. Watch their confusion grow. Watch them try harder, and then watch them wither away. This requires immense discipline. Your amygdala will want to scream. Your prefrontal cortex must hold the leash. Breathe. Count to 4. Speak. Then terminate the interaction. The third protocol is the nuclear archive. The lone wolf remembers. This is your danger. You observe patterns. If this person has betrayed you, they have betrayed others, or they will. You do not gossip. You do not spread rumors, but you keep the receipts. You document the lies. You save the emails. You remember the dates. You build the case file, not to use it immediately, but to have it in the silo. This is the threat of the lone wolf. We sit on a stockpile of truth. When the betrayer tries to destroy your reputation, when they try to gaslight the tribe, you do not argue. You simply release the data. One screenshot, one recording, one undeniable fact. Truth is the most toxic substance to a liar. It dissolves their reality, but you only use this if they attack. This is your nuclear deterrent. Knowing you have it gives you peace. You do not need to fight, because you know you can win the war in one move. This confidence changes your body language. It changes your aura. They will sense it. They will sense that you are holding an ace, and they will fear you without you saying a word. The fourth protocol is the Kinetic Transmutation. This is the ultimate revenge. It is the act of becoming successful without them. They expect you to crumble. They expect your life to stop. Instead, you engage the transmutation. You pour all that anger, all that betrayal energy, into your purpose, into your body, into your bank account. You use the cortisol in your blood as fuel for the gym. You use the insomnia as time to study. You sublimate the pain into power. This is alchemy. You turn lead into gold. And one day, 6 months from now, or a year from now, they will hear about you. They will see you, and you will be unrecognizable. You will be stronger, faster, sharper, and they will realize they betrayed a king in the making, and they are not invited to the coronation. You have walked through the fire, and you have not burned. You have been forged. The betrayal was not a punishment. It was an initiation. It was the universe asking you a question. Who do you belong to? Do you belong to them? Do you belong to the tribe? Or do you belong to yourself? The lone wolf answers to no master. The Ronin has no lord. You are now free. The pain you feel is the breaking of chains. It hurts to be free after years of captivity. Your muscles are sore from the weight of your own sovereignty. But you will grow strong. You will look back at this moment not with anger, but with gratitude, because they pushed you off the cliff and forced you to realize you have wings. Or perhaps not wings. Perhaps gravity just does not apply to you anymore. You are the anomaly. You are the glitch in their matrix. Walk your path. Embrace the silence. Build your empire in the void. Let them play their games in the mud. You have a mountain to climb, and the view from the top is only for those who can climb alone. Do not look back. There is nothing there for you but ghosts and dust. Look forward. The horizon is yours. Take it. We are Mind Ministry, and we are watching.